Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is the Great and Powerful Zilla. This video is dedicated to Sam. If you're out there listening, Sam, this one's for you. This vehicle here is called the Tortoise, and it was a development by the British. In 1943, they knew they were going to be fighting Germany on continental Europe, and the British had this obsession. The Americans did too, to a lesser degree, about an heavy assault tank. It was supposed to be super heavily armored, and it was supposed to breach the Siegfried line, fortifications like that. Okay, so they put together a bunch of different plans, including the worst tank that was ever built, the Valiant. But they came up with this one. Now, this one is called A39, but I've also seen it referred to as A16 in reference material. However, this thing was built in, 1944. They built 6 of them at the end of the war. It was never used in combat. In real life, it was 225 millimeter armor up front, and it had a 32 pounder gun, which is 94 millimeters to those of us who speak tank. Okay. Only one complete model of this is left. Well, it's mostly complete, and it actually runs, and that is a mild steel prototype, and it's at Bovington Tank Museum. The other 2 that remain, one is on a gunnery range and is basically a shell, and the other one is in a testing facility. Not likely that that one is going to end up in a museum. So, so what do you got in the game? Well, what you got is very, very slow, heavily armored tank destroyer. Okay. Now, what do you got? Well, let's see. Firepower, you got a 120 millimeter gun at top level. Okay. So actually, when you get this vehicle, you start off with the 32 pounder gun that it originally had. Then you go to a higher velocity 20 pounder, and then finally you end up with the 120 millimeter that was used very successfully in the British Army. It's a very accurate gun. Okay. But you can't do any of that until you get better suspension. So let's take a look at what you got in the game. You got a 120 millimeter gun. It doesn't have a turret, so that doesn't really matter. Its engine, it's okay. I mean, it's really kind of weedy. As far as mobility goes, it's not fast, guys. This thing is not fast at all. At all. It weighs 77 tons in the game. Actually, in real life, this thing weighed up over 80 tons. Um, the Like I said, it's not. No, no, no. It goes about 20 kilometers an hour, right? Which is not fast. All right. However, its armor is very good. It does have 273 armor up front, 152 on the sides, 101 at the back. And weak spots on this tank, of course, the lower glacis of any tank is. But this spot right here, this little turret for a machine gun, the base of a machine gun, that's a weak spot right there. And if you're shooting at it from the front, this turret right here, the little cupola, is also a weak spot on this vehicle. An interesting thing about this thing in real life, unlike every other tank in the world that mounted its gun on trunnions, this was mounted in a ball mount. That's right. This thing was actually a ball mount. It could turn all around this area right here. Okay? And it was electrically powered, hydraulically powered ball mount. So this gun could point, this way, it could point that way, and up and down, of course, and traverse a little bit. And it was all on a big ball. So you might want to picture this thing at on a giant ball mount, which was unusual for its time. Okay. Spotting, that depends on your commander, really. My commander's built up a little bit, but its view range is okay. But really, most of the time, you're going to be relying on other people to spot for you. The big thing about this tank in the game, the tank destroyer, is, and it really wasn't a tank destroyer in real life, it was designed to be an assault gun, is its gun, that 120 millimeter gun, which I believe, and I'll have to verify this, but I'm not sure. I believe this gun was later used highly successfully on the Chieftain prototypes, I believe. That 120 millimeter gun is excellent, excellent gun. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this into a game and show you what it can do, and maybe take a look at the game and different effects they have in it. There have been quite a few updates in World of Tanks lately, and I thought I'd take a look at it, and I thought I'd do this for Sam, who happens to like turtles a lot. So here you go, Sam. This is the Tortoise coming right at you, and be with you in a minute. Okay, we are on Highway, which is an American map, and we just happen to be in a tornado, thunderstorm. That's why you see all this stuff blowing around. And I don't know where this was supposed to be. I'm guessing somewhere like the Midwest or Kansas or something like that in the 1930s and 40s. But it is a very nice map to play on. And we're going to go over here to our right and take up a position on that ridge and hopefully get some sniping shots out there. It's a little spoiler alert for everybody. Don't do much in this game. The thing about tanks that are slow like this or the T-95 is if you don't get in the right position and all the stars align, you're going to have a lot of work to do to catch up and try and do something useful, all right, in the game. So I'm just basically backing up these very excellent medium tanks that go over here in a wolf pack, and I'm going to stick myself in a bush. That's what you do. And I'm going to target these guys over here as they spot them. The problem is these guys are all behind buildings and they're peeking and poking around. Okay, so I don't have much of an opportunity to take shots over here. Also, we got this thunderstorm going on in the background, which is causing my camera to flash. So it looks like I'm shooting, but I'm not. That's just lightning going off. Okay, so I'm looking through the bushes and I see a light tank over there. Well, actually, that's a wheeled vehicle. A wheeled vehicle, as Klaus Kellerman would say. And I'm looking over there, look at that guy, look at that guy. They're all behind buildings. They're peeking and poking. But I have to give kudos to these medium tanks over here. They did an excellent job, and they just rampaged. Once they wiped these guys out, they just rampaged on the map. You'll see it on the mini-map. It's not even fair. It really isn't even fair. What happens on this map, if you look to where I'm looking, that's where medium tanks go to either fight or die. And you push that corner, and once you push that, you go straight down that one line right into the enemy base and kill their artillery. Okay? I know that I'm not going to get anything done here. These guys are just basically raffle stomping those guys over there. So I'm going to back it off, and I'm going to try and reposition myself to support the town, which is where I probably should have gone to begin with. This thing is so not fast that if you get out of position at the beginning of the match, you're going to have a very difficult time doing anything productive as the match progresses. If the enemy had raffle stomped us and pushed in, yeah, I would have been in a great position, but I didn't know that at the time, that our medium tanks were just going wolf pack down that side of the map. And if you look at the mini map, you will see all 5 of those medium tanks just flying down there, just annihilating anything that's in their way. So I'm going to move up, and I'm going to get on the far side of the bridge and try and give our heavy tanks in the town support. But you know what? They're good too, and they don't need it. So we'll see what happens. But like I said, this is the Tortoise, and the graphics are great. The weather effects are fantastic. It is a free-to-play game. If you have not played World of Tanks before and you like shoot-'em-ups, this is certainly something you can take a look at. The Tortoise is a Tier 9 British tank destroyer, so it's going to take you a while to get there, but it's certainly, in my opinion, it's worth it to get a different perspective on how tank destroyers are played. The British made some very good tank destroyers. They weren't necessarily conventional. Like I said earlier in the video, this particular vehicle had a ball-mounted 120 millimeter, well, 94 millimeter gun in real life, which is something you just never saw from any other nation in tanks, so tank development. So I'm going to climb up onto this ridge across the highway here, and I'm going to see if I can't get some shots on those heavy tanks in the town, right? And come up there.
Where did they go?
If there's a problem with this vehicle in the game, not only is it its speed, but it's also those two weak spots are pretty obvious. Everybody knows where they are. And if they're not spamming gold at you, they're aiming for those weak spots, and they're pretty easy to hit. This tank is, like I said, an assault tank. You get into a city map like Himmelsdorf or something like that. Yeah, it's a tough customer, but you really can't get hauled down in this vehicle because it is all hull. So you might cover up the lower part of your hull, but that machine gun, that base of machine gun on the side and that cupola on the top are still there, and they're glaring weak spots, and everybody pretty much knows it. So, you try to snipe with it. If you get in the wrong position like I did, you're not going to have very much luck. And I was able to get off only one shot in this game. You saw it, and the tank was destroyed before my round actually impacted it. So, moving out, trying to help the guys out a little bit. They don't need it. To my team's great credit, they did a fantastic job in this game, and they just absolutely killed off everything. Those medium tanks, that wolf pack, wow, just wow. And I've been on the other side, so I know what the enemy team was going through, and there had to be people going, what the heck are you guys doing? But anyway, that's the Tortoise on the highway map. It is my sincere hope to every single person that watches this that you are safe and healthy, and that this virus madness has not gotten to you. Certainly continue to stay safe. And until next time, everybody, please be good to each other and have a great day. Bye.